Now there's some real key exercises when we're working towards calisthenic skills like handstand push-ups, press, handstand muscle-ups and things like that really help to understand transitioning our body position. Now what I mean by that is, so if we take this position, this shoulder stand, if you watch many of my videos, you know I'm a big fan of this. Being able to balance in that angled position. It's your bottom of your handstand push-up. It's a relatively easy balance position to hold and to control. So this, and it can be done on bars, high boxes, little IKEA steps, but it's a static position. We need to learn how to use it dynamically. Now the main movement I use for that is that shoulder stand to L-sit. So this position coming through to an L-sit and back again. Now once we have that understanding, we have that control, and we're ready to hit our body with a little bit more strength, another very, very cool movement is to go from a shoulder stand to a bent arm planche. Now when most people think of this movement, they'll think of a straight position here, and then you come forwards into this position. There, that's a straight body version, but that is seen as the harder variation because your body is extended to the longest position, or you have the longest lever arms, so it's the hardest to work with. And that's why I'd recommend that most people start with a very tucked position, both in the shoulder stand and in the bent arm planche position. So there, and then playing with the transition between the two. So shoulder stand, bent arm planche position. And notice how I'm going up and down is I'm changing the distance from the shoulders to the hands. And as I do that, the hips move. Now most people are going to find it much safer and easier to do on a lower surface first and start in the shoulder stand, because that's the scary part. We don't want to transition to the shoulder stand when we're not ready to do it. So I'm going to start in that position, and now I'm going to come forwards to my bent arm planche position, and then back again to the shoulder stand if I can. If not, I can just work the eccentric going from the shoulder stand through to the bent arm planche. And then once we're comfortable with that tuck position, we can start to progress it. Now when I progress it on these P-bars, I'm going to make it slightly easier by turning the bars outwards. So I create external rotation. Exactly the same as if I'm going to do it on the floor. For all my strength movements, I'm not in this position with my hands, I'm in this position. So external rotation, exactly the same as setting yourself up for a squat. Our feet are happier here than here. This looks weak, this looks strong. And then I'm just going to go back into that tuck position again and open out a little bit more. Go to my bent arm planche position, hold, and then back to the shoulder stand for repetitions. And as best I can, I want the body moving as that one piece. What you don't want to happen is the shoulders to come down and then the legs to come up. That's going to make it top heavy, meaning it's going to be very hard to balance, and it's going to tend to kick you out over the top. And it also just makes it twice as hard because you're like pulling yourself up. We want it to be this connection. Head and shoulders move, hips go with them. That's a really important way to think about it, is I'm controlling the movement with the shoulders moving to the hands and back again. I'm not controlling it by the hips going up and the legs, because that's going to make me top heavy and make me fall over. And then exactly the same as with the planche or the front lever progressions, I can start to open up the body even more. Once we've got to an open tuck position, we tend to go to more of a frog or a straddle position. Because the jumps aren't so extreme with this bent arm position, a lot of people can take bigger jumps, where when you're learning a planche or a front lever, you might move out very, very slowly through increments towards that next step, whether it's the advanced tuck or the straddle position, and it might actually take you 6 months or a year to go from advanced tuck to straddle. On this bent arm version, we can jump through a few levels a bit faster. So you could go to frog from here, which is more like this, but let's go straddle, and then I'm going to go from bent arm planche straddle to shoulder stand straddle and back again. Notice I'm staying as one. I'm not moving separately through the shoulder and the legs. Still doing this, which obviously gets harder as the lever arm extends. Once straddle feels okay, we can go to full position, so that straight position. So you start in that straight shoulder stand, squeeze the butt, squeeze the abs, keep the body as one, push forwards, bent arm planche, and then back to your shoulder stand. This is much harder for me to talk in this one here, because the intensity is now much greater because the movement's much harder. But it really helps you understand this connection between the hand and the shoulder. The more we get comfortable with that, the easier it is to control our underbalance control in majority of the calisthenics skills. that require that balance aspect. So I'd highly recommend you have a play with this one. Ideally pick items, so things like this, that we can move around. What we want to do is have them nice and close to each other. It's going to be really hard if you use those P-bars at the park and they're like this. It's so hard to get into a bent arm planche position because you're not underneath your base. If I bring this in closer, now I'm underneath my base, so my elbows are more on top of my hands. If I'm like this and my elbows are inside, I'm having to fight that. So using benches, boxes, chairs, or P-bars that you can move to fit your body is going to be the best for you in terms of safety, and also going to be the quickest to progress. It's also going to give you the quickest progress. Cool thing is you can use things like chairs, stack of weight plates, 2 heavy kettlebells. There's lots of options there. Now, if you'd like to support the channel, thumbs up, subscribe would be highly appreciated and really helps me out. If you'd like help with your coaching, check out my website, www.paultwyman.com.au, or for online coaching, and have my app.